Hey boys, what's going on? Welcome to the 0 to 2400 CR Challenge, Episode 2. If you didn't watch Episode 1, the rules of this challenge are we're purely to use LFG, no other tools to find people, avoiding anyone I vaguely or potentially know, and obviously anyone I play with normally. Making sure that, we change our name on a pretty consistent basis, usually after the YouTube videos or a couple days after the YouTube videos. And I do like a bit of a check PvP as well. If somebody has like 300, 400 CR above me, I get a bit sus. So I usually check the games played that most people do, their experience, stuff like that. Finally, the big one is it's on a completely fresh account, so there's no achievements on it that would help me get into groups. So if I made the account on this guy on my main account, I'd have a whole bunch of experience. People can check PvP and see all my achis and the fact that I have 3 other warriors at similar rating, like 28 to 2900. So it would kind of invalidate the challenge. So it's completely fresh. If you're interested in watching any of this, come and follow the Twitch, twitch.tv warriorxyz. We stream it a couple hours every night and on the weekends for a bit longer. If you're interested in supporting the channel, or you're interested in VOD review or one-on-one coaching, check the Patreon out as well. There's still a couple of those tier 2 memberships available. All right, guys. Hope you enjoy the video. Let me know what you think. Peace. So we're looking for groups at the moment, just applying for pretty much anything right now. We saw someone who was doing YOLOs, couldn't really find anyone else who was looking for YOLOs. Dude's apparently 2400 XP. You know how LFG XP goes, you never know. Had barely any games played, not much gear as well. So yeah, we took these games and, waited a little bit, and I think he found a Resto Druid from LFG as well. So as we got started, the goal with this one, I wanted to give a bit more of the strategy in these LFGs. We were 0 CR and 3s, so I really didn't care who I played with. I felt like, I could potentially get some rating regardless with really any team, especially at this rating where we're still sort of learning. Big issue I had here, I had a bit of lag on all these games. I'm not sure why, but yeah, so the main idea was ideally getting to like 1400, 1500, similar to what we did in 2s, and then pushing out, looking for a more legitimate team. And unfortunately, I think there's a lot of people who are struggling with this. You just have to join pretty much anything and try your best to carry it, in my opinion. Because you're gonna have a really, really hard time being picky about groups at this rating. Just join a group, send it, do as many games as you can. So these queues were sort of decent. I think what Warlock's really good at is they're sort of good at punishing sort of bad positioning. So with that permanent slow, so we were able to score a whole bunch of kills at low ratings, but then we sort of hit a wall, I think, at the 1300, 1400 mark. And I think at this point we're about 1200, 1300 CR. We've grinded those initial wins, and we are looking to go and push the, try and get 14, 1500 or something. I'm not sure exactly what our rating is here. But, the turbo cleave, we're starting to face real comps, which is what tends to happen around 1500 CR. People might not be the best at playing these real comps, but they're aware enough on what comps are meta and generally who to target. And I think I make a bit of a mistake here. I can't remember exactly. Yeah, so they're not super gear. They're probably similar to gear to us, but our comp is WLD. It's got a shaman and a H power. It's gonna be hard stuff for sure. So yeah, I tend to find these ones to be some of the harder ones in my opinion. And I put the parry up here, but I'm stunned. I triggered the disarm, which is sort of questionable, I guess. But I think the issue was we're kind of I tried to fear him on this, but then I was out of range. I wasted my trinket real bad, and I think here we just get one banged. And I was looking for my healthstone in my bags because I never macroed. So unfortunate game for sure. and it's not too much you can do about it. Um, but yeah, these guys I think were playing pretty decently too. And I think the Resto Druid and the Warlock were doing fine. I think they might have just got frustrated. I think the Resto Druid, we're at 1500 MMR there, 1k CR. Might have just been a bit frustrated. So the next game I was looking for, I saw this 1400 SP, who was looking to play RPS. So I hit him up and I'm like, let's play WPS. Felt like I played the SP, Warrior SP a lot. So even at lower ratings, I felt kind of confident that with my gear and stuff, I could still do pretty well to sort of carry the team. So in this one, yeah, we got a Shaman, Stormski. He's a very nice guy. Curate was he's very professional, but yeah, a bit toxic. I feel like he emoted a bit too much. That it borders on a little bit toxic there. But I think the main goal is we wanted to win the first, like, for me, I'm like, it's really important to win the first couple games, with an LFG group. And because this is a good comp, we have like pretty decent gear. I think the Arsham had like 213 eye level, so much better than most healers you can find. I really wanted to keep this group up, so I was playing pretty try hard here. We're still pretty under geared at this point. I don't think this is before the first reset, so I don't even have the BM I got yet. But we don't do too poorly. I think we are able to break the next threshold, and that's the whole idea of this challenge is you sort of break down what key markers you want to get to. So for me, I know that once we get to 1600, we're gonna have a much easier time finding groups. We just need to get out of sort of this elo hell of like 1k to like 1.5k, where you're having really hard time finding people to play with, and a lot of the people are very in and out. So we started at 1400 MMR there. And you certainly find some very interesting comps. Here we verse double fire mage prop paladin. I think this is sort of midway through our push. I noticed that the Asham was, playing quite well, and I think the SP was doing pretty decently too. So it is interesting that you still are able to find some people who are pretty decent even at this MMR. But yeah, I think this kind of shows that there's still good people out there. Don't give up, don't lose hope. These guys had hundreds of games played at 1400, so well, not hundreds. Maybe it was maybe it was 100 or maybe a little bit more. I think on the VOD there's details on how many games they play because I usually inspect them beforehand. I parry here because I see the bus, but I realize the bus isn't even on me, which is my bad. And generally, I think with these types of comps, you just have to keep a pretty chill, level head, be pretty calm about everything, and yeah, if you're looking for more of the mindset stuff, I think Magnus did a really good video on having a calm mindset, so go check that out. Because you do fight a lot of these cheesy comps that might get you really, really low, but generally you'll have the buttons and the stuff to beat them if you play a real comp. This paladin cast Ashen Hallow, this prop paladin, didn't even realize he was running for the longest time. And I think we're able to clear them out. I'm still running out of the Ashen though, because I'm kind of sketched out. And eventually we sort of close the game out here, which is good. Very, very good, because I wasn't too interested in fighting more of that this for any longer. One more bus go and I think it would have been a bit sketch. Also here, I didn't have any of my weak auras on or my ability team tracker. I think I just forgot to, and I was being lazy about it. So yeah, some of these games are almost playing with like my basic add-ons that I super rely on, which is sort of the ability team tracker, which, for some people, they don't like the UI of it, but for me personally, I really like how it looks on my screen. It helps me keep awareness of everything, stuff like that. And we're able to score the kill here, and I think this is sort of midway through the push. So I imagine probably about 1500, maybe high 1400s. because I don't think you normally see this comp too often. I noticed a big thing that a lot of people do with this rating is they don't like line up much of their CC. I think that sort of changes as you go higher. So that's one thing you can really make use of is just like they don't really know their DRs too well, or they're not really respecting a lot of your damage goes either and responding with cooldowns. So big thing to take note of. I think let's have a look at the rating here. I think we kill this guy in a couple of seconds. Let's see. That one is at high 1400s, close to about 1500. I think this is the first mirror we've versed so far. And while we're in the starting room, I guess I want to talk a bit more about the LFG strategy. So with LFG, I think the thing you really want to prioritize isn't necessarily XP. You want people similar CR to you if you want to climb, just because if they're really low CR, you're going to have a hard time getting the MMR to push. But generally also attitude and mindset. I find that that's the biggest thing with people I do well with in LFG is if they're generally positive after the first loss. If I notice that someone's being really toxic after one loss, I don't really stand for any more of it. They're already in the mindset that I'm bad and we're losing because I'm bad. And what's the point, right? Why would I just subject myself to that? So even if you're having a hard time, getting cues, try and stand up for that and make sure you keep that because you're never going to go up too much rating with toxic people. In the mirror, I mean, didn't actually see how much gear the warrior had. He might have had pretty decent gear, might have had a little bit less. I think this priest is a little bit more geared. Yeah, he's got a little bit more gear than me, but not too much. And I messed up a whole bunch of DRs here. I think he's on a quarter DR, the shaman here. So yeah, I guess against mirrors, generally I just want to focus on doing as much damage as possible, looking at potential CC and just shut down this priest. Really make sure he's not unable to play the game. These mind control attempts are a good example. If you are a little bit inexperienced, you don't know that you can reflect them and blazestorm them. You might get stuck there and waste a whole bunch of time. So really important. And I think even with a bit less gear, we out damage the other warrior too, and that kind of brings us to about 1600 MMR. So to crest the final rating to get that 1600 in threes, we verse a mirror again, right? So this was a really clutch game. The Warriors got almost 40k HP, obviously with the buff, but we're still pretty undergeared at this point. I didn't really have too much. I didn't really have too much gear. Still, I think my gear catches up heaps in the most recent videos that you'll see later in the video. But we're really struggling to sort of keep up, and this warrior is just pumping right now. I'm doing like 1.5k damage. My SP is doing 6.2. No, he's doing barely anything. I don't know what's happening. If he's just getting kicked on everything, it kind of looks like a bit of both. But we're on big timer, and shout out to Stormski for being able to heal this. To be honest, we're doing absolutely no pressure, and they're getting a lot of pressure onto us. So I'm trying to catch up as much as possible. Just go really aggressive. Even this dude is like faking pretty well. The SP, he's positioning well. It's just crazy how much better people at like 1600 are from a couple years ago, or even like it feels like last season. I feel like maybe the inflation is one aspect of it, but people just seem to be playing so much better and have such a better understanding of the game. This like little disarm here is one example, and I try and peel with something that I think the clip kind of glitched out there. But I intervened, but I didn't realize he dispersed. He kind of used it at the same time, which is not really a big deal. And he's running the void form out, so we get the stun there. I'm just trying to look for a stun because he's stunned my SP, so I stun the shaman and we get his trinket. So we're not looking too bad because my shaman's trinket rotates very soon. In about 20 seconds, they just use one of their trinkets and this intervene comes out too. So we get stunned here, unfortunately. The warrior's hitting me though. So this kind of buys some time for my shaman to stabilize. We get a nice fear there, which I think got tremored. Like it must have been tremored on the millisecond I fear, because I didn't see that before. Or I broke it, or it was a dot, something like that. One of those two. So yeah, this is sort of not looking too good for us right now. I'm sort of rotting. The Warriors coming back constantly, and I just parry straight away because I didn't want to put us even further behind. We just stabilized, and to be honest, parry has a 1.5 minute cooldown, so I wasn't too worried they were actually going to commit to that swap. But you know, they notice that now, and they try and punish me for it, which it's a lot harder to do on my main. Like, but because I'm so low health, it's like a little swap like that really does put me behind. I lock the mind games here, and I think we are looking at almost losing here. I jump in, throw the disarm out. He just purses as well, and it's not looking too good for us. We haven't even got dispersed from this guy. We haven't really got a single button. I get hexed as well. I could have reflected that, which is really bad by me. And I think if I reflected that, we'd win. But what ends up happening here is we sort of reverse the pressure a bit. We get the disperse, which I don't think was necessarily a bad disperse, but it wasn't. I don't know how much trouble they were actually in. We swap to this warrior here, and the silence comes out as well. The warrior doesn't really react fast enough, and the swap just kind of catches him out of control. So for a lot of low rating people, I think they have a hard time like quickly reacting to swaps. And he was in one mindset and sort of got caught for it. But yeah, that was our 1600 game, and you know it doesn't end there, boys. We keep pushing it up, but we're gonna, for interest of time, sort of speed up some of these videos. So unfortunately, I couldn't find the clips of, I think it was 1610 to like 1700. I don't know if I just didn't download them in the batch I downloaded or something like that, but generally just to fit in the whole kind of push for this week, I'll kind of keep these next few pretty short. So we found this HPAL and SP. We'll skip sort of a little bit into the game as well, just so we don't waste too much time. And they played fine, but the SP had some internet problems, which is okay. But the HPAL was really toxic. Like the SP was doing, make minor mistakes or something, and he was like this HPAL was just going off at him, just nonstop about everything. So I think we played a couple. The SP didn't really seem to care, so that's why I was like, okay, maybe this guy's not too tilted. But I think we lost like one game a little bit deeper in, and we were doing fine as well. We were like climbing pretty decently. I think in a 1700 bracket, kind of like 60-40 win rate, I reckon. But yeah, these guys still had a really big issue. So yeah, I'm not sure. So I think this is a game where the HPAL just went a bit crazy. We banned that as well, which is nice. Trying to kill this ret here, but the ret's like kind of outgearing us. I think we've gone up about 30-40 points, but then kind of bounced up and around for a bit. And we get this fear, which is really awkward. I do a swap instead. I was going to go fear, but I think I just swapped because that way I can sort of get out of line of sight of the frost DK. And I don't know if we win this or not. Kind of can't remember, but I remember him being really annoyed about this game. The bubble comes out, which is kind of scary because everyone's kind of getting domed right now. The wings are out. I intervene, parry the SP, and he gets fade back. So I think it's at this point the SP DCs. It's really scary. And we're sort of hoping he comes back, but I think he was having some issues with the internet, a whole bunch of issues for a lot of people who were kind of in America, power and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, we lose this game, and the HPAL was just already being super toxic. We were doing well as well. We were at 1825 MMR, so more MMR than we needed to get to generally. But yeah, I think at a certain point you have to realize that when the HPAL, when people leave that quickly, they're kind of pissed off. But yeah, this dude was just so salty. The guy DC'd and just wasn't really nice to play with. So we had this game which was kind of rough against three really good players who were on their alts. And even though we got them super close, we couldn't really ever close out the game. It was a super awkward game. Um, yeah, we were just kind of getting convoked on, having some issues just connecting to the right target, which is sort of, I think, something you'll notice a lot with LFG, some of your target selection. And we're doing pretty well to intervene. Like, he gets so close to dying there. But yeah, when the damage actually comes out, there wasn't too much follow up from that, and we're just peeling as much as possible. I fear the druid, so the what's it called? Our druid is fine. Boomkin HPAL is a bit of an awkward comp because you don't really have a purge. So some of the pressure here, the CC chains from the FM priest are very hard to deal with. And a lot of the times I was like intervening and then unable to, like, he was running from my intervene. Largely, I think, because people don't really know what intervene does a lot of the times. And also just because I think, he just thought that was a play instead of just taking the damage and doing damage himself when it's intervened. But we try and do some big dams. We get him close. Like every time I hit the guy, he gets super close to dying, but then we get peeled off. And yeah, this game I think was super awkward. It was a long one too. If you notice, I started the clip like a minute ago, and we're 19 minutes in. So just a really long dampener that kind of took ages. Just took ages. Took a lot out of us as well. I think if we skip a little bit, we can kind of see what happened. Yeah, here it is. He gets kind of low. I kicked out mind games. I'm peeling him as much as possible. I'm trying to jump and get the intervene off, but it's too little too late. Unfortunately, with that mind control. And even though we were doing pretty well with these guys, the druid insta left after that. He just like, he had one bad game, and people, even when we're on a kind of win streak, I think let's check our MMR. We're at 1850 MMR versus a 2060 MMR team, three really good players, and the druid insta leaves, even though he was 1700 at the start of the queue session. That's what you'll find a lot in LFG, people who just can't stick out the grind. And we got to 1775 MMR though. I jumped back into LFG. The Paladin was still keen to keep queuing. So, if you have a healer, you keep the healer as long as possible. Huge big brain LFG strat. Just if you have a healer in your group, you're going to get better DPS. And I think what happens here is we found a DK who was really big into RBGing, but didn't have much threes rating. So he was super giga geared, and we just smashed out these next few games. So looking at this game here, which is a critical game for us because we're looking at pushing it up to 1800, so we can upgrade some of our gear. So to see that gear progression. At the moment, I'm at 34k HP, so I got a few upgrades. I wasn't lucky with a weapon, so I had to buy the weapon, which comes out in a future video. And yeah, we're still sort of grinding, but sometimes you get gems like this. I've noticed when I queue late at night, I'll tend to get people who are kind of pretty geared from RBGs who, maybe they finish the RBG queue session and they want to do some threes. Even though maybe their skill isn't as high as like a gladiator player, just having gear just helps so much at these ratings because this guy's 43k HP. And our HP wasn't super geared either. So against the turbo, I'm sort of like running and kiting. Really not sure what I was doing here. I didn't want to like be in there initially. And I was like, I'll get this fear really early. So I do this fear, which is super awkward. It's against what's it called? Thunder as well. I thought it was turbo for a sec. And I'm just trying to pump as hard as I can. And I leap back here, which is kind of awkward. I reflect the rep there, and then I leap back because I realized I reflected the rep. And yeah, I didn't really expect him to rep me in the first place. So it was super, super confusing. But we get both of them in this cleave. We get the chill streak going. It's really, really fortunate for us because he's already, really behind from that repentance, which you normally don't get as TSG. You don't get like a big rep like that for free. Usually your paladin has to compromise a lot of his position. And yeah, we get a nice chill streak. The damage is pumping out here. I think we're able to close this warrior out. Like we just have huge pressure. They're both low as well. This dude's got a health bath. Actually, they get top tier. So the repentance comes out. They're on me. I parry instantly. So parry. I didn't get distance off, but I think we're okay because of this AMZ. And we're doing the grip go again on both targs. Without spear, the TSG is super awkward. That's what I've realized. When you have spear, it's nice and smooth, but without it, very very awkward. I see the warrior intervened as well, and while I'm not necessarily like thinking about swapping, I sort of look for this fear here. I actually have a stun for it, so he can tremor, which is super sloppy by me. I shouldn't have done that, but our H bar has almost every button up right now, so you know we're kind of chilling. We're big chilling right now. And yeah, we get lassoed really short because we're running Seifus and we're on DR. This bop comes out, but we get the triple go here. Warrior reflects, and I think I start looking at the HPAL too. The DH is wanting to go HPAL a bit, but you know, didn't really have too much pressure. That's a big thing. This Ellie's trying to pop every single button right now, and yeah, it's just on the warrior. I think he intervened, so it was either intervene or I had a reason for it that might have worked in my head. No clear reason right now. And you know, I'm just like, fuck it, I'll chase this guy. But then I changed my mind midway through because I'm like, oh no, he's gonna get repped. This is kind of scary here. I intervene the DK. We get the double. Like our go is sort of his counteroffensive because it kind of pumps as well. We CC them for a while, so it's pretty nice here. This Hodge comes out very clean. I'm sort of smacking anyone and everyone right now. Just trying to get damage out. And it's a bit of a long game. I noticed a lot of these games took a lot longer. So the video is going to be a bit more in depth than the other ones were. But, you know, hopefully you guys enjoy this as well. Enjoy watching some gameplay there. And I wouldn't say we necessarily played any of these games particularly well, but we did the bare minimum to win. So sort of close this game out. We have enough damage. Their HPAL's out of cooldowns. He's got no sack, no bob. He doesn't even have Divine Toll left. So we sort of grinded them out. And yeah, this Q session was pretty good. We kind of stopped there as well, just to make sure that, you know, fresh day with 1800. We get the rival there. And yeah, 1831 MMR. So that kind of concludes this video for today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We saw from 0 to 1800 what's kind of happened. There was a gap between 16 and 1700 CR. If you have the VODs through the Twitch, you'll be able to watch that section. I wanted to get this video out to you guys tonight, so I didn't want to have to go re-upload and cut this again. If this is something you're really interested in, when I cut everything up and put it into like one big full video, I will put that all out. I'll put that all out for you in one massive video. I try and find that 16 to 1700 CR push. It is on Twitch because I've streamed all of this. I just don't remember which VOD it's in. So we have even more videos. This is from a couple days ago. I think it was about 4 or 5 days ago. So we push both 2s and 3s to new heights and get pumped about that. I'm going to try and release these a bit more, a bit faster, just so we have, I guess, we don't have to chunk like 30-minute videos like this one is. But takeaways from this one, you know, for anyone who is in LFG and you feel like you just get tilted and frustrated, you guys just have to persevere because there are good players out there. You just keep spamming those Qs and you will find good players, especially if you're playing well. Even without without the best gear, you know, I feel like still playing pretty decently. We're not being toxic to our team. We're trying to pump morale. And if somebody's like, I've got this idea that I want you to do, I usually just do it. If the healer or the DPS is like, go X target, I'll just do it because I don't think arguing really achieves too much in LFG. when I think I'll probably start to use voice at 2100. Obviously, we probably won't be streaming this because I feel a bit uncomfortable doing voice and then recording the voice on stream. So maybe there's a way that we can sort of split those up as well. I might like look at different audio channels, just because a lot of these people don't know they're being recorded. So I wouldn't like while it's WoW, it's fine. It's like easy to record the gameplay. I wouldn't want to record them speaking. So I'll stream them speaking or record them. So we'll pull that out and we'll think about that. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. And if there's any pointers or ideas that you think would be awesome in these videos, let me know. I've been sort of splitting it up by 2s and 3s. Largely the challenge is in 3s. 2s is mainly just to gear, get conquest, honor, and stuff like that. If you want to watch any of this live, again, check out the Twitch channel. And I hope all of you guys have an excellent week ahead of you. Take it easy, boys. Peace out.